Okay, good morning, all friends of European Rural Parliament, and best regards from the very north of Europe. Just like Christina was telling, it's nice to change snow for rain for some while. It feels like I'm melting here in your weather. Also, having lived in Ireland for some time, I remember how Irish defined summer and winter. Do you know what's the difference between summer and winter in Ireland? In winter, the rain is a little bit colder. I have a difficult task of defining what European Rural Parliament really means. Having been in these events, first in Brussels, then in Scherding, Austria, then in Venhorst, Netherlands, and now here on the fourth time, I think all of these events are building a nice storyline and also expansion of our European rural parliament decision-making and issues preparation. I will start my definition with the last word, parliament. What does it stand for? I think the word was invented by our Icelandic colleagues about 1,000 years ago. Some Icelandic Vikings got fed up with fighting always, and they started a thing called Althing, and they started discussing things and solving joint policy matters together. And Althing is the oldest parliament in the world, so it's very good to have Icelanders in the room. You can show the Viking way of discussing things, solving them together. What is then rural? That's maybe the easiest part of definition of our European Rural Parliament, because some 90% of the EU territory is classified as rural. And more than half of the EU population actually lives on these rural territories. So we must all be very proud that we are the majority of the European population, and our voice, our common problem solving, our advocacy messages must become heard. But I think we will become better heard through a process like European Rural Parliament, because we need a joint voice and unified messages, what we will be achieving here during these days through our updated declaration and manifesto. The trickiest part of defining European Rural Parliament is actually to define what is it to be European. It's probably easy geographically, but did you know that actually what I read in Google, and Google knows everything, and Icelanders can now disagree with me, is that actually half of your island, half of Iceland, geographically belongs to North America. I don't know if this is fake news from Mr. Trump, but don't let him buy your island. I know he is keen on some Scandinavian islands. Also, we have other countries here in the room that are mentally, very mentally Europeans, maybe not strictly geographic terms Europeans. And we are so proud to see the family growing and expanding, and that we are actually 41 countries in this room. It's a major achievement. But at the same time, when we are looking at this map, European Rural Parliament logo map, there is quite a big white area on our east side when we are looking at this thing from Finland, and having a really, really long border with our eastern neighbor, Russia. We, of course, always also cooperate with them. And just yesterday during the dinner, we had a nice discussion with Moldovan colleagues that actually Russia is now initiating LEADER program, and the first pilot regions are starting with this approach. And hopefully, in near future, we could see also Russian colleagues take part in the European Rural Parliament event. Some people from their national administration have actually done that during some earlier years. So what best defines Europeans probably are the values, our common values. To mention a few, solidarity, social inclusion, sustainable development, and bottom-up approach are those values that we all stand here for. And democracy, of course. And as we have seen over the past few years, our democracy and our European values are at the moment being attacked maybe most severe than in recent European history. They are attacked by our own internal issues, those polarized development patterns that cause populism in our countries. Also so-called strong leaders who tend to do whatever they want to do and confuse their voters. So in these circumstances, I would say that processes like European Rural Parliament, when we are redefining our European values, where we are redefining what is important for the majority of Europeans, are getting more and more important all the time. And we must, more than ever, stand together and united and use this process for renewal. My title was also saying that what have we done after the last event in Venhorst. Our major outcomes, of course, are manifesto and declaration. And these papers that were thoroughly discussed through, like during these days, will be here as well. And also later on, you will have a chance to comment from your home offices. The contents of these papers have been presented and discussed in a number of events with the respective EU institutions. And one very interesting and promising result from very recent times was when Mr. Radim Sersen and Mario Neckhardt from ILARD have been presenting an opinion from the Committee of Regions to allow minimum allocation also from European Social Fund and European Regional and Development Fund for the CLLD, Community-led Local Development, for the next programming period, 21-27. So we would also get new funds to support bottom-up development, community-led local development, and perhaps get also new policy fields like urban policy in our bottom-up development family. So with this little definition and short background of the previous four events, I wish you all very fruitful days here in beautiful Asturias, and let's all melt together. Thank you very much.